Hello, my name is Eric.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome to our inaugural episode of Cyber Sitrep.
Oh, I can't wait to give you all the information about cyber and what's coming up.
Right, us as well. So Mike, what we'd like to do to start this inaugural cast off this episode is the why now. Why are we doing this now at this stage in our lives and this kind of appearance? Why do we decide all of a sudden to go out and start a podcast?
Yeah, I think we've been working together for years, and we see how many inaccuracies, failures, thoughts, loss of knowledge when it comes to like cybersecurity and the people out there, that we just want to share the wealth, share the love, preach the gospel of cyber.
Yeah, I totally, yeah. So that I think Mike nailed that. Just a little bit of background. We're both former military types, hence Cyber Sitrep, to get you guys up to speed, minimum amount of BS, get you there, get you weaponized, and help you move down range and get things done from a cybersecurity point of view. So on that note, when we say military experience, when it comes to cyber, what kind of scale and scope, Mike, is your background?
I sadly have been doing it since dirt. So I came in 1990 and started doing offensive cyber ops, basically because I got in trouble. There's a story there in another cast. I promise. It's a big story, but I got into it and I was in the right place at the right time and got to grow how the DoD does networks. I built the first barrier reef boundary protection system that created the term DMZ. We built the first network operations center for the Air Force at Ramstein. And then I closed out my career here in Colorado Springs in charge of the Air Force Satellite Control Network.
Wow. Well, thank you. It sounds like you definitely have the cooler dossier.
Right place, right time. That's all it is. It's right place, right time.
Wow. Well, mine's not nearly as cool, but I still enjoyed it. So I started out in Air Force as a communications troop, as a wire dog, and installing all the communications around the world. And from there, moved into computer maintenance, and then that begets security, et cetera, et cetera. So I kind of had a coming in from the hardware side to the systems and software side. So my bias is a little bit more towards that, especially when vendors make claims that they can't support, with regards to, how their topology deploys, et cetera. So anyway, long story short, once again, over 20 years experience as well. Now, once again, more of as a government contractor, in addition to Blue Cedar time, is worked from tactical programs, single user, standalone systems to command and control networks, to weapon systems, to general enterprise IT, right? So a little bit broad spectrum on that, but not quite as network centric as yours was at the very beginning. So
yeah, and like I say, it was the right place, right time. No one had networks. So our first network we built was a Novell network from the commander's office to his deputy commander to his secretary.
Awesome.
With a file server.
Nice.
So it was literally no one knew what we were doing. We just did it.
I was on a team that actually replaced that.
I'm sure you were.
Back in the good old days, right, at Stratcom, we were getting rid of the Novell and going to Windows. That's awesome. So once again, DoD, very specific. We have our own kind of way of doing things. But, you and I have been talking. We think that still has value for the general community.
Yeah, I think our years of experience will help any business, any size business, be able to, do simple things.
Right. Right. And one thing, for the viewers out there and the listeners is that, I think DoD is a great example and government in general, because they're constantly being probed and attacked, right? I mean, I did some scary look up. I did a Google search earlier on what the average number of events was per year that the government in general faces. And once again, it's on the web, so it's got to be true, right?
I heard that from Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly. I shall not tell a lie. No, that's Washington. Gosh. Got to get it right. but CISA was estimated last year to have forwarded over 900 million malicious connection requests. That's government wide. That's more than just DoD, but that number just boggles my mind, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I've seen numbers for 25 million a day that like ThreatLocker and others are detecting.
Right. So I mean, government's in it to win it, man. They have been pounded mercilessly ever since we've been in, and still to this day, right? And so they had to come up with some effective ways to protect themselves. And so it doesn't really matter what flavor it is, whether it's government or civilian. The same techniques work, right? Across the spectrum. So that's really our shtick. We have a little bit of a tilted, skewed view of the universe coming from the military and government background, but we swear that it'll translate to your environment.
It does. And that's what I've tried to do, and what we want to do together is translate what we did in the military and then working for the government and show small business how that can work for you.
Yeah, and in fact, Mike, that's a great point. It's one of the reasons why we formed our company 8 years ago is that, we worked for the big guys. We worked for, the large government agencies. We worked for, the prime contractors, DoD contractors. And so we learned how to do things at scale. But what we were seeing is a lot of small and medium-sized businesses that were part of that defense industrial base, the DIBnet, didn't know how to do that, right? And they still don't to this day. A lot of people struggle with that. And it's, you could pick a myriad of reasons. I mean, budget is probably one of the biggest ones, not having knowledge of requirements, et cetera, et cetera. But we saw a real need there and a business opportunity, to be honest. And we've exploited that fairly well. And, here in Colorado Springs area, which shout out to Studio 809, and the Next Us facility here in downtown Colorado Springs for hosting us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're doing a great job here, but, to your point, we think there's a wider audience that would benefit from this knowledge. It's not rocket science, but there is methodology. There is, best practices in there. And over the course of our episodes, we hope to give you a walk through how to do security from a government perspective.
Right. Secure your system as if you were maintaining that sensitive data the government has.
Right. Treat it like it's classified.
Right. And if you don't think your data is that important, you don't know who wants your data. Well, everybody wants your data.
Yeah, that's a fact, right? So,
right. From your financials to your employees to your clients, we're seeing an increase in business email compromise to where they're sending fake invoices back and forth between small companies.
Right. That's a whole nother cast as well.
Yep.
Got a lot of material.
We've got a lot to talk to you about.
Right. So, yeah. All right. Well, with that, I think that wraps up our first inaugural episode. Stay tuned for more great content.
We hope to see you again. Like and subscribe.